Hi, I'm Trevor Dumbleton. I'm going to try and answer the question, is anybody watching internet advertising anymore? And advertising's been around on the internet pretty much forever, and it seems to be getting more and more invasive. The more things we do to avoid it, such as ad blockers, the more the sites have to work around that. News sites plead with us when their software discovers we're using an ad blocker, but since most of the time news sites are pretty much the reason we installed it, because who needs umpteen autoplay videos that all seem to natter at you and pop-ups that pop up everywhere? Our instinct is to basically say no to those exhortations, and that's certainly what I do. It's highly unlikely the sites begging will have the only copy of a story, or that they won't have allowed Google or Bing to cache their pages, so there's usually a workaround, and it doesn't seem to happen on firewall protected sites, pay-per-views and things like that, but even those often allow a sort of 1 or 2 clicks a day. But there's also been an interesting twist in internet advertising recently, because with an ad blocker, YouTube's once again a pleasant place to be. There's none of that clicking, waiting for those 5 seconds to expire. But Facebook has actually gone towards a more traditional advertising model, and I'll come to that in a short while, as we've almost gone full circle in advertising terms. Back in the old days, before we recorded television programs, because there weren't video recorders or hard drive recorders, the only way to miss adverts was to have a toilet break or put the kettle on. And here in the UK, electricity companies knew there was going to be an extra demand for that very reason when commercial breaks happened in big programs. And that was most of the time in peak time programs, because we only had a handful of channels here when I first remember watching TV. 2, then it grew to 3, and then a long time after that, 4 and 5, before hundreds. So adverts were almost unavoidable unless you left the room. They were on and you couldn't fast forward, you didn't have a remote, so you had to walk to the TV to mute it. Now it's probably just the sponsored by adverts that we notice, because they're the trigger for us to either start or stop fast forwarding. Likewise in newspapers and magazines, it was difficult to avoid the adverts. You're turning the pages, or they're on the pages. Maybe that's why news sites still try to work that way. And as an advertiser, great news. You can introduce new products even if nobody knew they wanted one until they saw the advert, and that's how I knew I wanted a computer. Way back when, Sinclair's multi-page adverts for their ZX range introduced and educated me. They told me what I could do with a computer, which nowadays seems almost nothing, but at that stage was really exciting. And they educated me on how I could use it, and therefore why I wanted to send them money. And until very recently, I'd have never found that kind of information on the web, because I wouldn't have known to search for it. That's the problem. You're chicken and egg in this kind of situation. If I hadn't known Sinclair's computer range existed, I wouldn't be here now, probably, in terms of that. I would have probably found out about the internet eventually, but computers, they'd have taken me a lot longer. Facebook, though, has gone full circle at the moment. They're the only site I know that's doing this. If I could be wrong, and if I am wrong, pop a note in the comments. Sponsored posts are the closest thing I've met to the old style push advertising, the ones where, literally they're pushed in your face as much as anything. I think they've been watched on the web, because a lot of time these kind of sponsored posts are at least vaguely relevant. If they're targeted properly, they're really spot on relevant. And again, if you think the same, feel free to put your thoughts in the comments below this video. Sponsored posts, yeah, they're not perfect. For instance, Facebook think that you seeing at least 3 seconds of a video means it's been watched by you. But then early TV and magazine adverts weren't even that. Just because the viewing or readership figures were there didn't mean the advert had been seen. For instance, on a Sunday paper, it might have had several million circulation, which several of the ones here in the UK did. But the sports section, straight in the bin for me, because sport's just an alien concept. And for other people, might be travel, might be business, might be home, might be something else. So just because there were that many copies of the paper sold, or that many people allegedly watching the programme, didn't mean they all actually saw the advert. So actually, 3 seconds is better than none. It's a lot better, because, as I said, if it had been in the sports section or certain other ones, I'd never have seen it at all. And for the moment, at least, those views are cheap. Facebook's taken the view that some money is better than no money, and I'd actually agree with that. And given the way they've got close to an infinite amount of advertising space to sell, because you keep pressing refresh on your feed, that's probably a good attitude. If you'd asked me a year or two ago, I'd probably have said that internet advertising was going the way of the dinosaur, that there was pretty much, it was going to be obsolete. For regular web pages, I'd actually say that's still the case, because banner blindness, ad blockers, the almost automatic Pavlov type scrolling past the ads at the top of the search results or the top of the page on your favourite forum or whatever. But now I'm starting to think that properly done, it could actually be making a comeback. And I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. If you agree with me, a like would be appreciated as well, or even a click of that subscribe button that's just there so that YouTube can kind of advertise to you when my next video gets shown. And as marketers, we need to adapt to how our audiences are watching or ignoring us. That's why personally I tend to put links in pages as though you're clicking them on Wikipedia or whatever. Because again, that's, to my mind, a nice way of internet advertising. It's not in your face, it just works. And we need to adjust to what our audiences are doing, and for me the major plus is we can target people who'd actually like what we're selling, going back to that computer again, but would never actually come across it in their regular life. Selecting adverts by interest groups, it does that nicely, because you can with Facebook, you can just say, well, people that like this, you can put them, I'd like, for instance, in self-help, they follow Tony Robbins. Okay, well, that's a nice enough market, he's done the advertising, he's done the reach. Grab a piece of that pie. And it's a bit like Amazon's list of other things that people looked at. So put your thinking cap on and use the fact that some people are watching internet adverts, again, to your advantage. As I said, put a comment or a like or even a subscribe below and let's see where this goes. Thanks for watching.